Worship thy spirit and the truth. What is the spirit? The word sound we hear come from mouth. I don't hear it, but you can't see it. You hear the word, don't it? You can't see it.
Why is Ethiopia seen as a black man's heaven?
Through Ethiopia, Africa is the origin of the black man, and Ethiopia, Africa is the beginning of civilization, and the black man is the foundation of civilization. And the black man and the black woman, and through here is our home. Therefore, we couldn't see no other place different from our home as our heaven. You know, where we live, where we come from, is ours. We couldn't claim someone else's place. You know, so even present through science, we can show you. Say life started out in Ethiopia, and we know Ethiopia, as we say, is the origin of the black man and the black woman. You know, so there is where the Creator begins from. You know, and where the Creator begins from and dwell is his home, is his heavenly home.
Why is the Rastafari so concerned with repatriation and reparation?
Blessed are my Lord. Repatriation. Repatriation is what brings me down here. So repatriation is going to bring me back to Africa. Repatriation, compensation. You know, 7 or 13 miles that we should bring home back to Africa. Compensation, as you know, from 1834, Victoria the Grand, 120 million pounds sterling throughout their rule, their Commonwealth rule, for the black people to return back to Africa. Until now, we don't get no money yet. So now, up to now, that 120 million pounds sterling developed to about 7-8 trillion right now. So we call upon the government of Europe, Britain, the Arab world, to give us all this money and give us repatriation. So I am not black people, we are not Jamaican, we are not English, we are not part of the Caribbean, we are Ethiopians. So Marcus Garvey said, when the time comes of black man redemption, the police have to drop their pants and join the line. Yes, because they were brother. So we call upon the police force now to defend themselves, ourselves, from Babylon system. The government of Jamaica, they are working for Elizabeth. We get independence, they say they give us independence, right? And then now you have 100 there wherein Jamaica upon one. After that 100 there, they turn back and go back to the Queen.
Describe the diet of a Rasta.
We don't eat meat. We don't eat chicken and anything, you know, farmer meat, you know. But you have some Rasta man eat fish and some don't eat fish still. But through Christ the chief fish and bread, there are multitude. You couldn't fight against a man who eat fish. Because Christ is share fish and bread. I know say Christ no wrong, Christ is right. No say go. But we never hear him share no chicken and bread. Alright, you see what I say? So vegetarian, you know. Mostly vegetable, we drink roots, we don't drink alcohol like liquor and those things, you know see? We don't eat vine food. I like Boboshanti, we don't eat vine food. Like pumpkin and yam and chocho and them things there. When you come to Boboshanti camp, things you used to eat no more. Place you used to go, you go there no more. Things you used to say, you say no more, you know? Like a barn again, you know, seeing a newborn soul. This when you see this camp here, it's a camp, you know, with soldier, with them on a back of front. A fight, you know, God and Satan a fight, right and wrong. So when you're on the back of field, this man say, if a soldier get injured on the back of field, we don't have no time to turn back and say we're going to bury no one. We have to continue on the back of front. And family take him. It's like when at the army, the American army or the army out there, when soldier on the back of front, when a soldier get there, doing him, bag him up and send him back to him family, and then bury him, yet the government party, financially, everything. But that's how this camp run, you know? Listen.
Respect to respect to Christianity and religion, these are coined by Europe, you know, to control the world. So religion, Christianity and democracy, all those three principles or concepts, they go together. But these three things represent the devil's way of life. Christianity is the devil's way of life. Christianity is the devil's way of life. And religion is vain. Because if religion wasn't vain, you wouldn't have the Arabs or the Muslims fighting the Christians and the Christians fighting Rastafari. So it is a vain way of life. So Christianity is just a cover-up to oppress the poor and the needy and to keep us down most of the time. Because even Christmas, the 25th of December, is not something that really you love to do because they'll give you a gun or something, a toy gun, but you see where you take you do. Because look at the society. The gun that we get at Christmas time as children, those same people turn it on you. When you turn it on your friend and in a joke. But when them get the real one, it's the same way them do it. Them turn it on them one people just the same way. So these are not encouraging or good principles. That is why you see the police have to carry a gun. Normally the police wouldn't really carry a gun. You know, only when it is absolutely necessary. But because of all these things, when it comes Christmas, them take up knife and gun and give to you as toys. You know, then it corrupts the society. So Christmas is white people's way of making millions of dollars or billions of dollars. And you know, on that day, when them counting their money, you know, them allow we to eat pork and drink wine and rum and all these things.
Explain the concept of black man being seen as the true Israelites.
These are main factors that can prove that black people are the true Israelites. When you go to the Holy Book, the Holy Bible, in whatever language, it shows you that the house of Israelites were taken out of Jerusalem and brought into captivity. Our history shows that black people were taken out of Africa and brought into captivity. That is one significance we show the same thing go for the same two people. You know? So that is one main factor. King David, an Israelite, and his lineage come to Emperor Selassie. And Emperor Selassie say when he come here, the same people him live in Ethiopia and come see here and we are blood brothers and sisters. That's how
Imperial Majesty Emperor Selassie, is the king in the Godhead or in the Trinity, because we give praises to God in three persons, Blessed Trinity and all powers. So, Prophet Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Priest Prince Emmanuel or Melchizedek, and Emperor Selassie as the king. So, what we are doing here today is in honor of God in three persons. But His Imperial Majesty came here in 1966, and we are discussing what he said to the House of Parliament. Thanks.
Greetings, everyone. I am Lisa Sutton, and I attend the University of the West Indies. I do a degree in Spanish, major in Spanish, minor in International Relations. I'm then the founder of Club Africa, student organization at UWI Mona, and I'm here to represent in that capacity.
Blessed Divine greetings, everyone. My name is Shannon Smith, and I'm the current president for the Club Africa, taking over from Lisa Sutton. Here to represent as well. The club, our major mandate is to instill African pride in our students, in our contemporaries, to dispel some of the myths and the lies that have our young people feeling that they are less than who they really are. Thank you for the invitation, and I hope to have a very lively discussion.
Blessed love, my Lord and Empress, Prince and Princess. Give thanks for the Black Christ who found this mission of redemption. Give thanks for the Women's Freedom Liberation League, which is the woman's arm of the Congress. I am Honorable Empress Petrona Simpasa. I am the voice of woman, speaking the will of King Emmanuel Charles Edward through the Temple of a Woman. I am here to represent in that capacity today.
Give thanks for the introduction of our panelists, my Lord and Empress. And as I said, we would like to read out the speech, if it is okay with the panelists and the audience, and then we can just highlight different points and of discussion. Starting the first paragraph. Well, the Emperor H.I.M. Emperor Selassie address to Jamaica Parliament. Distinguished members of the Jamaican Parliament, I am glad today to get this opportunity of conveying some thoughts to the Jamaican Parliament and people. The people of Jamaica have a long, glorious history. The Jamaican people have struggled to attain their independence, and since independence, the Jamaican people in an exemplary national unity have gone on to bring further abundance and progress to themselves. Because I know of the history of these wonderful people, and because I know of the sentiments the people of Jamaica entertain for the Ethiopian people, I have always wished to come and visit. Now, thank God, this wish of mine has been fulfilled. Selassie, Jah Rastafari.
The king spoke of the glorious, the long, glorious history, of the Jamaican people. Now, when you're talking long, glorious history, would he be referring to Europe and America who took us out of Ethiopia, Africa, and brought us here? Or would he be referring to the black people who they took as slaves out of Ethiopia, Africa during the slave trade and slavery? So, this is when we talk about the glorious people, long history. The people of Jamaica have a long, glorious history. Is this history of Europe, Britain who took us here, or is referring to our history that we have created since slavery up to now? Because out of slavery came Rastafari and emancipation then, Rastafari emancipation, because it was Rastafari who, liberated themselves, because even the Maroons themselves that they referred to as Maroon, the Rastafari are the first Maroon. We are the first Maroon, going forward to Joseph days, because Joseph was sold into Egypt. And from the history was from this, they stopped recording history from that time, Joseph days, up to when Columbus came back. They haven't really said anything about Joseph and the Joseph children. We are the same Joseph children. some of us are still here. Because that is why when the people came from Africa as slaves in shackles on their feet and were on the plantation, it's the Maroons, we the Maroons, who go to the plantation and take some of these people off of the plantation and even burn down plantation too. When them get up in the morning, man gone. So you know, these are the Maroon work. It's not the Africans who came here, they joined with Joseph Children, you know, for certain freedom. That is why people like Kodjo was taken into the Maroon community with the hope that he would have kept, you know, that order that he came and saw. But because of belly full and licky, him threw it away. And that is why we stayed in slavery so long. So these are the people, the Jamaican, the black people, Joseph Children, and those children who came out of Africa because of slavery and the slave trade are the glorious people that His Majesty is speaking about.
How he makes reference to the unity, the national unity.
Speak up,
I'm
please.
sorry, to the national unity, and the fact that unity is the only way that you can accomplish anything that is of any significance. That the freedom that we're able to create was only if we are united. Of course, it couldn't have been done by one effort here and one effort there, but we had to come together and decide that the future that you want for yourself is not the one that your enemy wants for you. And together, bring that into the
Yeah, even within the days of the plantation and the struggle, there was unity. Because if, as I suggested, there wasn't any unity, what was accomplished or what was accomplished, it could never be done. So we know that there was unity as much as, you know, we may scattered and in different places, but the communication was always there in terms of how we can organize ourselves to topple the enemy and to overcome their regime, you know? So it had to really be that basis that really help us to even have the abundance of progress, you know?
I think this first paragraph, in all honesty, is very straightforward. This is the address, the open address to the Parliament. I don't think there's much in it to debate. So I'm looking forward to getting into more the crux of the matter. It's an address by international diplomat to the people, and I think when he says, because I know of the history of these wonderful people, we can just take it to be national, the entire nation, because being such a diplomatic and such an international man that His Imperial Majesty was, he would have known that the 95% is African descent, but there are others living here. And then he goes on to say, because I know of the sentiments the people of Jamaica entertain for the Ethiopian people, that points us that he's definitely speaking about African descendants, because it is those who have that sentiment, and the others who are living here have their own culture, their own motherland, their own orientation. So this tells us which people he's talking about, which is the majority. And it refers to those who are not of African descent, but they have the love or respect and for Ethiopia. So he makes it clear who he's referring to. I don't think it's too partisan in terms of a nationality or ethnicity, but it goes definitely who have the history and the sentiments. Because even those who are living in Jamaica, who are not a part of the 95%, have an history of struggle and oppression too. The Chinese coming from their lands and their history, their dynasties. So I think, and where it says national unity, I think incorporates the various segments, various ethnicities of the island, because he would have been, an international man such as him, would have been briefed about the ethnicities that we have living in the country.
Looking at the first paragraph, speaking of the Jamaican people, as you know, we know that many different ethnicity in Jamaica, but you know, black people and a whole, His Majesty really speak up on the same, you know. Instead, the Jamaican people have an exemplary national unity, have gone to bring further abundance, progress in themselves, you know. So the man stress unity, as when him come, him say organize, centralize and come as one. You know, so him foster such unity from them time they even towards repatriation. You know. Him say him know the sentiment of the people of Jamaica entertain for Ethiopian people. I not go just see that as just Jamaican people. I see that narrow down come to Rasta for Rasta man then. People back in the day, yeah, but you still have some of the black people when me would have seen them myself. So the Rasta man them out of black people carry that sentiment towards Ethiopia, because even right now, to the day when enough people, the vision are touching multitude, some still not see Ethiopia as, oh, Rastafari would have Ethiopia same way, you know. So even them part there, I man could have say, and even when him say, I have always wished to come and visit Jamaica. 1961, a fox finding mission did go into Africa, you know. And even the Jamaica government did send request to be the king ambassador and to have him ambassador down here through the Jamaica portfolio. And the king laughed and said that he already have his mission going on here and have him embassy and him ambassador who will pay a visit shortly. So from them time they say, me I see said the king eagerly await the day when him come on the shores of Jamaica to even fulfill, you know, his desire to bring documents towards I and I repatriation, you know. Most I Selassie I Rastafari.
I don't know if I know the Empress have an input to make.
My lord, I find it rather difficult to dissect His Majesty's speech to the Jamaican Parliament, placing it in the context of His Majesty's visit within the mission of Rastafari. I only see it within that mission, and why he came is the speech is a speech of a diplomat visiting a country where his people are. He was invited. The pressure to bring His Majesty to Jamaica came from the people, mainly the Rastafari community. And I see it within the fullness of Haile Selassie I coming to the Western world to claim his people, to identify himself to his people. His people had called out. We have to put it in the context of the whole mission of the Trinity. The whole speech is just that part of that mission. The mission of the Trinity, which is a relay. I mean, His Majesty came because for decades the people had been awakened by the Rastafari movement to their king by Marcus Garvey. We had been awakened to our ancestry. We have to start with Marcus Garvey, because the king came to validate the vision of Marcus Garvey, the teachings of Marcus Garvey. Look to the east for your king. When the king is crowned in Ethiopia, that is your king. Stop bowing to George of England. So Marcus, we have to start with Marcus, because he began the journey, and His Majesty came to continue the journey by identifying himself, by claiming his people and saying, yes, I am your king, here I am. Where I come from is your home. You are my people. You are my brothers and sisters. So it's a stage of the journey home. It's an identification, a fulfillment of Marcus Garvey's prophecy, pointing us home. That was like the second stage. His Majesty coming to Jamaica was like the second stage of the relay. He had been identified, he had been pointed to by Marcus. Africa had been pointed out to us. We'd been asleep. He'd opened our eyes to where our home was, who our leader was. So the leader come to clarify that, to make that real. So everything within that speech simply comes down to that. To tighten the bond between the diaspora and Ethiopia. The whole, I cannot dissect the speech. Within my meditation, I cannot dissect it into little pieces, because it's one speech, it's one meditation. So I can only speak of it within that context of the movement, the journey.
His Majesty is coming. Even as the Empress make reference to Marcus Garvey, was also in fulfilling that prophecy of Marcus Garvey, because the Honorable King Emmanuel wrote in the Black Supremacy book that Marcus Garvey said that the year 1966 would be the year of the black man redemption. The year 1966 also, it was a year, them say it was the year of the Shemitah, meaning a 7th year. You know? So it was considered as a year of release. So even His Majesty coming now to the West, especially Jamaica, knowing that Jamaica was the headquarters at one point for the British West Indies, and knowing that here is where the profit grows from, and here is also where the Rastafari consciousness rise again. You know? So in Marcus' word, the redemption, it was the redemption that came unto us as a people, as black people. You know?
Before 1966, from 1958 when the Congress was formed, letter have been sent to Ethiopia by King Emmanuel Charles Edward, inviting him to Jamaica to come for his people. So in 66 it was just a fulfillment also of such, you know, documents that have gone through before.
Again, I emphasize on the whole importance of the unity when see, you know, when saw within the people, you know, amongst ourselves, you know, moving forward, you know, and obviously we only try to discuss it in his terms and, you know, even moving forward as a people towards a great progress. You know, my question is, you know, how much is that unity grown even today from that time? You know, I mean, as a people moving forward, and we can say as Jamaican, yes, but the more I look upon it from the basis of African people, knowing that we as the African population out here, even Jamaica, how much we have grown within that unity, you know, amongst ourselves, because we see other nations make great progress, even in Jamaica amongst us. We see the Chinese, we can see the European, but amongst black people it's like there is more division than amongst any of these people, you know. Seeing that unity where His Majesty even see that time, how much we really, you know, advance on that unity amongst ourselves, and then how we can even move forward within that unity that the King saw.
Federation is what brings the people splintered. Federation is what fight against His Majesty and bringing Mussolini and him oaths to destroy His Majesty people. So now, Federation didn't introduce in Jamaica here by Dudley Thompson and Armand Mandley, right? And splinter up the Rastafari group, and then you have 14 group of Rastaman turn back to the politician and support the politician. There's only one man or one group, which is EABIC, never bow, right? And then now, they come now and form a thing named the Millennium Council. The Millennium Council is an astrology council that destroy black people coming from Iraq in Mesopotamia with Lucifer, Nimrod, and the Romans. Yeah, they are the one who dominate all these people in Africa, bring them to what they are today. So what they do now, they call like they take 3,000 people from Europe, bring into Ethiopia in Africa, where the West Africa then, right? And they have the furniture and what have the same European people. And after them come in there now, they take another 3,000 black people and carry to the West.
My Lord and Empress, in this time, in this place, we should use the moments of meditating on His Majesty's visit to Jamaica to inspire ourselves to move forward. We've been looking back, and we've been looking back, and we've been looking back. His Majesty did not only make a speech to the Jamaican Parliament. Okay, that's relevant because that's governmental to governmental. But His Majesty also communicated with his people. And he appointed a leader to bring about this unity. The unity he spoke about in Parliament
right through his speech, he kept speaking about unity. And he spoke of all the reasons why we should be united. And then he formulated a plan. He found a man and handed over the means for bringing about such unity. The Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. The Black Christ Way. That's the next stage of the relay. So in this time, in this place, that is what we should really be coalescing around. Why His Majesty came, what has come out of it, and how to go forward. Based on the speech in itself is a diplomat speaking to another government.
No, we understand that's government.
So
government.
What is as important as this speech is what he was saying to his people, and that is what we should be meditating on.
Understand that first. That's why I say again.
And he said this Congress for that unity to be brought about through this Congress.
It's not all of our people out there accept or acknowledge that this Congress was set up by His Majesty. Again, you touch diplomacy or diplomat. Yes, His Majesty came in our country, and as a man dealing on a diplomatic terms, him himself never get up and declare, but we know that His Majesty leave documents, concerning the government that is already established for the right of black people. You understand me? Because these are documents was also left with the Jamaican government. We hardly hear, when I hear no discussion about these documents, when I hear anything, these documents never come forward and brought to the public or read that the public could get an awareness of their government. Even the priest touched when the Jamaica government asked His Majesty to set up an embassy. His Majesty already told them that he already have his embassy and his ambassador down here and his king mission. We know that the Honorable King Emmanuel make that declaration to the world of people, and no one had ever contested or tried to deny it is not so. King Emmanuel declaring writing to the highest level of government in an international body, notifying them that he's the authorized ambassador and the king mission, and that mission is really repatriation. So even with the, as we say, with black people, the unity, it is important to even achieve repatriation. That's why His Majesty even emphasized one of the words is to centralize and unite. Now, as we say in Jamaica, we can see how it rests amongst African people. The divide and rule, as Marcus Garvey speak about, it is very rampant amongst us in society. In every way, them try to set it that way, create division. His Majesty, as we say, emphasize on the unity moving forward. Unity where MC will bring great progress. So we are asked again that kind of unity, how much we have advanced within that unity even from that time to this time.
In 1966, when His Majesty came here, there was the bond of unity, was much stronger amongst all the houses than now. And if you notice that since 1966 up to now, they have rewritten Rastafari work, they have rewritten what the Congress have put down, the Millennium Council.
Yes.
They try to override that, rewrite all those things.
Right.
So we don't really need no new, no new declaration of whom Rastafari or what is, because the Congress from 1966, it was branded with His Majesty leaving his hand in his Prince Emmanuel hand. That this is his ambassador, and the man take him all aside before the other 33 or what many invited guests were done. His Majesty, when King Emmanuel came up to receive his golden star, he put him aside because they weren't to finish it, until when all the other brethren them come up and get their golden star or get their honor. And during that time, His Majesty said to Prince Emmanuel that I'm going to pay you a private visit, which occurred in 1972, which only certain people knew about it, because if it's not recorded in Ethiopia, so people say, oh, that could have happened. It's not recorded that His Majesty came here in 1972 to Bakawal. That's right, my lord. It's not recorded, but yet He come. And it is true that He came 1972 down there. When He came, Sabbath day, the brethren there, they weren't even in that type of unity that they were supposed to be in.
I didn't know about that. It was just last night that I was, but my father and I were talking about the visit of Prince, His Imperial Highness Prince Ermias to Jamaica, which is today. And he was saying that there was somebody, a government, I won't call the name, but a government, head of parcel of government, who was called in a certain radio program on the air, don't know which radio station, and was saying that His Imperial Majesty came here, but not in a plane, or when the plane, or if it was plane, when the plane came to the first point of departure, embarkment,
right,
he traveled by train throughout Jamaica. So I'm asking, that's happened when he came to Bakawal? Because I'm thinking, hold on, let me just clarify, because I'm thinking that my train of thought is that airport, how would I go say it, because excitement, people would have to know more than just the person who's coming to visit.
Right.
If the mode of transportation was airplane,
exactly,
and even if it was airplane to Jamaica, then after that now, persons would see if it was something that was open up and big limousine and diplomatic vehicle carrying around. So I would just like to know if it was that accurate, was it by train?
Well, that is the point. There's no written evidence other than the father himself and the brethren who were there who saw, and when they saw him, remember that His Majesty, can take on any number of countenance,
Yes.
Because if even we can travel and people don't recognize we, sometimes you
Even
can travel from here to anywhere and people know it's not you. Although it's you. But we see that happen all the while. We see people travel all over the world and people don't recognize till a certain point that that is the person. Yes. So His Majesty is the author of those things.
We give thanks for this glorious occasion, a golden occasion. As we say, give thanks to all that are here. Last year, I know that many of us, even as members of the Congress, we know the King's mission. Understand? And I know that all of us know that majority of the people in Jamaica do not know the King's mission. Understand? Because even His Majesty speaking about, he knows the long history, even of the Jamaican people. Because that's what he says, to take this opportunity to convey some thoughts, the conveyor belt and all these things, some thoughts to the Jamaican Parliament and people, black people, never really signify out and different. Because that's one thing I love with King Emmanuel, he always talk about black people. Why he always talk about Rastafari? Because Rastafari is originally the priest of the Almighty. So they're supposed to know better to lead the people. What we are here now is Majesty come. The people are illiterate to what happened. They don't know the speech of His Majesty. Therefore now, I and I, even as Rastafari people, many of us don't even study the speech of what His Majesty said. Because many of us just think that we know what His Majesty said already. You understand? And to look at what He has said. It is for us now to convey these thoughts to the people for them to get a better understanding. I'm thinking that this panel discussion is to see what He has said to the Jamaican people and Parliament, and for us now as Rastafari now to take this message to link it with Marcus Mosiah Garvey, is coming, and King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, that they can get a better understanding. So knowing that even I and I as Boboshanti is here, and would we even like to know what's in the thoughts of these people that have to deal, because I know the time is going. We haven't looked deep into the discussion as yet. As we said, many of us will say we know the speech. But let's give us a chance who don't know the speech to even go further in the speech as the time is going. And I give thanks again. He says he's seen the progress of the people. Remember, these people are coming out of slavery. You hear about all these people, you talk about Taki, you talk about Paul Bogle. But above all prophets, a greater one will come, which is Marcus Mosiah Garvey. So coming from slavery now, where they had us down in bondage, to where we are right now, it was a unity, because if the King Emmanuel said in the 1930s, black people must return to that love. We're not talking about 1966 after the departure of Rastafari and so on and so. But 1930, when if you touch one black person, you touch all black people. Unity has broken down from way down that time. You understand? It's slowly breaking down, especially now. So there was a unity that caused us to, even that time, to be in such a unity. And he knows. So therefore, as King Emmanuel said in this document, His Majesty came for us. But he couldn't bring us home because we're full of bad mind, covetousness and all of these things. That's why His Majesty put us back to the King, the Shepherd, to teach us how to unite once more.
In truth, when His Majesty come to the airport, the amount of the reception that him see is not just Rastaman him see only. Him see everyone, both great and small. Bald-head, comb-head, jerry curls, locks-head, everyone. So it was even looking on the clips, it show more, it show like the whole of Jamaica was out to see the King. Yeah. Which before the King come in, it was just Rasta, really, I say, emperor. But upon the moment when the King come, Rasta was outnumbered by the rest of people. Just to see their God and King, you know. So him see more than what him expect. You know, like I expect to see just Rasta, you see everyone.
At a time when the Ethiopian people bore aggression, harsh aggression, the people of Jamaica showed their concern and sympathy to the Ethiopian people and have in this way provided us with encouragement regarding which the Ethiopian people shall be forever grateful. Since I arrived in Jamaica, I was able to witness myself that these feelings of sympathy that had existed then have continued. And even now there is a greater desire to establish a closer relation with the people of Ethiopia. The relations, in a broader sense, between the people of Jamaica and the people of Ethiopia and Africa are deep and abiding. We have all struggled for independence and have achieved it now. Because we are people dedicated to the achievement of our independence, we have attained an objective that is the basis for continued mutual cooperation and goodwill. In addition to this, there is a bond of gratitude, a bond of brotherhood. The people of Jamaica, by and large, have originated in Africa. This again gives us another basis upon which we can contract a healthy relation, a relation that is not only going to be useful to our prospective peoples, but a relation because of the fundamental similarity between us that will in the long run contribute to a better maintenance of international peace and security. In addition to this, both the people of Jamaica and the people of Ethiopia are dedicated to another cause. That is a cause of progress and prosperity. Here again, the struggle we have to undergo, the difficulties we must all overcome, and the program we must adopt have much similarity. Thus I say the people of Jamaica and Ethiopia have much in common, and these common factors can be used as a basis for even stronger relations between our two peoples. The people of African origin have immigrated to many parts of the world. Some of them have come to Jamaica, others to other parts of the world. But wherever they may be, they have similar historical experiences, and the problems that await them depend on sympathy. And this can be used by all of us as the basis for the establishment of greater cooperation, which will be for our mutual benefit. In addition to this, I also believe that the peoples of Jamaica and Ethiopia have another important cause in common. That is the cause of international peace. For much more than means of warfare, the violation of peace somewhere must be discouraged to prevent the utter devastation of the human race. We have as an important concern that there should not be a violation of international peace and security. However, if small countries do not combine all their energies, if small countries do not put all their weight in one direction towards the maintenance of international peace, then their individual voice in today's world would not matter much. This is precisely why the smaller states, Little Jamaica and Ethiopia, have the supreme interest that international peace and security be preserved. And to this end, we have to continue to collaborate so that our voice on the international scene would be augmented.
Yeah, what I'm seeing, through the Honorable King Emmanuel was agitating for I repatriation going home to Africa. The Jamaica government say, who we know Africa, who we know who we have Africa, because we are Jamaican. No African country would accept us. So as so come it lead to the fact finding mission 61 where 5 countries were visited. Those 5 countries basically Ethiopia, Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone, alright. And all of them agree. So they would take us in. So when the emperor come now and make this speech now and show say the relation where we have is from long time. He just show say we are one and there is place for us home to discomfit what the Jamaica government say. To try to what you call it now, beat down our moral of being African and Ethiopian dignified sons and daughters, you know.
And so that Jamaica by and large have originated in Africa.
Alright.
So what evidence more than that we want, you know, that we are all Ethiopian Africans. So you know, we have that right to return. And this is what he's strengthening, you know, that when I said that originated in Africa and strengthening that. And Sim said that we down here, the people down here, Rastafari down here, are the people that are going to bring world peace.
Yeah. Not the government, not politics.
You know, and a politician are going to bring it, and we are going to bring world peace and international security. Because world peace and international security can't come through the gun and the bullet.
No,
because if that was so, Britain would have, you know, would have conquered all those things already. So it's only clean hands not pure, not only salvation or the King Joy and you know, African people.
The Honorable King Emmanuel have 10 points of peace in Jamaica and the world. And one of the points is all people must be handed over into the hand of the Honorable King Emmanuel under the red, black and green, red, gold and with all respective symbol. That is one of. So until them act upon them movement there. No peace.
But remember that, you know, this speech is to consolidate our faith in him.
I have a question. So in regards to the cause of achieving international peace, right? That was the mandate from my understanding of what the history that I'm being provided with that I did not know about why his Imperial Majesty came in what context and so forth. I get the idea that it was this mandate was passed on to Prince Emmanuel, and then now since his departure, what has happened? Who has taken over that mandate? Is it that he was mandated, so another person from the Bobo Hill camp would have to be mandated?
King Emmanuel Charles Edward, through the guidance of His Majesty Haile Selassie I, set a congress to gather the people. But in order to make the people ready for repatriation and redemption of Africa, there had to be guidelines, because we had been spoiled by the Western world. Our ancient liberty of love and unity had been taken out of us. Therefore, Melchizedek, King Emmanuel Charles Edward, who was from ancient of ever living, he never forgot our ancient way of life. So he was mandated by His Majesty Haile Selassie to rebuild our ancient way of life and to, through that process, purge us of the pollution and the dilution and the destruction that the Western world had imbued into us. That is why this Congress was set with principles. The principles set by King Emmanuel Charles Edward are the purging soap and water that would guide us towards our self, would bring forward that unity, that creation unity of love. So King Emmanuel, the man that you see in the pictures, that temple has moved out of the way. But the mission that King Emmanuel was empowered to accomplish is based on the settings, the principles, the government within a government.
So King Emmanuel's mission continues. In one of his reasonings, one of the reasonings in the latter part of 1993, the reasoning was an Empress League reasoning. King Emmanuel stated this through the priest, because the priest would go to him for words and bring it to the congregation. And through one of his priests, he stated, in the final battle for freedom, redemption, and international repatriation, the woman must go in front. He stressed the principles, the Women's Freedom Liberation League, as the completion of the man and woman kingdom, bringing about equality and justice, the first equality and justice. In the principles that are read out each morning, 6 mornings a week, the principles that King Emmanuel say is his constitution, the governing principles of this Congress of Unity. This is the only place that the African peoples of the world can unite through these principles, because they are the principles that will return us, help us to regain our memory of self. So King Emmanuel, the temple that's pictured up there, we can't see that temple, but we have the Congress, the principles, and the settings to guide us forward.
Remember that the same year that His Majesty came, Queen Elizabeth came that year also too. You know. She came the 3rd of March. So she came before His Majesty came. And when she came, she was sent a pouch by the Most Right Honourable King Emmanuel. A red, blue and white pouch. So my lord, red, white and blue. Contain a red, gold and green flag, red, black and green, and a black band. And it is noted that when she received the pouch and she opened it and she see these emblems, she dropped them. She dropped the banner and she declared the man. So there's an individual man in this country who no one is to molest. For in time to come, his law shall be law over her law, and his law shall be law over her law. The thing is that 1958 when the Congress formed, the Congress formed basically because 57 when Ghana get independence, the declaration go out for the role of black people, but Jamaica and Barbados specifically was mentioned. And within that declaration, following shortly, the Union Jack flag was taken down and the red, gold and green flag will arise. And after that, just Britain, through her governor, Youfoot, make a declaration giving Jamaica self-determination, right? Which just said now them have the right to choose their own government, but she never deal with the whole issue of the fulfillment of the Emancipation Charter, wherein they were supposed to provide ships also for the African population to return, because that would have to be a part of the right of the people. So within Britain making a declaration and not declaring or mentioning anything concerning the African population and their right to return home. That is how the first Rastafari convention was called 1958 at Bakawal by the Most Right Honourable King Emmanuel. You know, so even all of that tie in, you know, because remember His Majesty it is said that was the one who gave Kwame Nkrumah the red, gold and green flag to rise in Ghana, which was a gateway, the black 5-point star. You know, and with her visit and she declaring, knowing that she come 1 month before the king, and the king come now. You know, the king come to even see that all these aspects be fulfilled where the Jamaica government is concerned. So basically, even with we now moving forward, because we definitely see the king in his speech, him show you, the Jamaican people when I refer to is really the African people by and large. You know, and we as a people, as the Empress even stated earlier, we can't move on further without Garvey. Garvey must have to be a part. You know, and to fulfill even the king word. You see, Garvey even outline and show us that if we, the black people, should be in the Western world for the next 300 years, all our life when spelled is ruin and disaster. So we, you know, we have a responsibility, even to say that fulfillment of the king, you know, that fulfillment of Marcus Garvey, to really centralize ourselves as the king even, demand us to. But not just centralize ourselves in any terms or in any way, but centralize ourselves under the body that is already set up and acknowledged by the king, because the king already leave that acknowledgement of the priest. Is the Jamaica government really and truly why the whole heap of confusion exists? Because as I say, as I come on a diplomatic mission, being a diplomat, you can't address the people outside of the government. You address the people through the government. I mean, even if you have something on behalf of the people, you have a hand it through the government to the people. But the Jamaica government, even from, because when I'm thinking, Emmanuel say, now Bustamante, when they accept the 6th of August, they should have never accepted that independence, because it was bogus. They should have stayed with the 1st of August, because that was the true independence of black people, because within the 1st of August we know the chain and shackles, and there was other rights, so I know we have the responsibility there, because even as the item a leader, we are all leaders. We don't just gather here, so basically because we just want to gather. Our gathering here, so, is because the king see it fit for us to be here this present moment. So we all have a responsibility for the king, We are great people, and we see and we did that travel with the king, So we have this responsibility to help sensitize and bring that greater unity, because we see the king really emphasized on the unity, and we really see the importance, as Garvey said, unity is strength. United we stand, we see the division. We are fall when we divided. Now is the time, because it's the time, 50th year, is unity, is a coming together, the time of release. Whether we want to accept it as a reality or not, it's around to keep the black man and the black woman down. Most of the conflict and the war,
yes,
it always, remember even in a book that Williams, Eric Williams from Trinidad wrote, I'm going to tell you about a time within the slavery in, I think, Cuba, and a Spanish priest was agitating for the release of some of the native people, and his suggestion was that you can release them and enslave the black man, because we need 4 Spaniards to do, 4 native people to do. You only need 1 black man. So you must, we always, even like we as a people, as I say again, we are function within this environment where we have governments that function under. But these governments really and truly is not for us, the people. You see it?
Just picking up on the same point of the coming together, the unity. Because I know what he says, this is precisely why the smaller states, Little Jamaica and Ethiopia, have the supreme interest that international peace and security be preserved. Most of the international conflicts that occur have nothing to do with us, but affect us. It's other people, the larger states, their wars with each other over whatever it is, territory, resources, whatever it is, but we end up suffering for it, whether we can't get the kind of goods that we get before, or they want to set up military bases on our smaller states because it's more strategic, whatever it is. So even though we don't help to bring about the conflict, but it's going to affect us, so we have to organize ourselves to help to defend ourselves against whatever effects would come because of these things, and not wait until it actually happens.
After reading through this, the summary that you could, in a simple form, so you could understand, and King Emmanuel said, Father, come show you, we have blood brothers, and there's vast amount of land. So if I don't want to put it in as many words, that is exactly what it's saying. Because once you build relations with current people, most likely your people are going to live there. You understand? So one of the things now to show you that Marcus Garvey and every King Emmanuel Charles, there's an Empire Selassie has linked. He has linked, the stick that is in Joseph and everything become one design. So what I'm saying now is that Marcus Garvey tell you something about black people. He said majority of black people are ignorant, right? Meaning lack of knowledge. He said because other nations have sacrificed their lives and time to Christianize our race, we have to sacrifice our life and time to civilize it. So if you notice what His Majesty he was saying, we scattered in different parts. Before we reach even to the broader thing, you know, it's showing the unity amongst us as a people first. We have the same identical thing. In Jamaica, we face the same thing. In the Caribbean, the whole earth faces different thing in a different form with all the atrocities that reach us. Then scattered four wings of earth. So even the unity that Jai is speaking right there from India between us and people, they say the people of Jamaica and Ethiopia have much in common, and its common factors can be used as the basis for even stronger. That means he's showing the link that we have to link with Ethiopia, you know. With that, you see, for stronger relationship between our two people. So he has come and linked the people, you know, totally with Ethiopia. But within international peace, you know that UN just digging a same pit like what the League of Nations did dig for themselves. And that is why King Emmanuel Charles Edwards said, every people in Jamaica must study their universal declaration of human rights. Because remember, you know, him saying as Christ had come before, you know, if he never come, they would have cloak for their sin. But because him come, they have no cloak for them sin. So when you study your human rights, and you get up and you speak about what your words say, your words say all are born free and equal. You say there's no distinction between race. You say everyone has the right to a nationality, freedom of speech. When we know these things and we can declare ourselves. Because further in the document is going to show you that there's a seat within the OAU for a particular person or people. You understand? That's supposed to be dealing with this. So for international peace and security, as King Emmanuel Charles would always stress upon, we need to study our human rights. And human rights have to start amongst in your house first. And then you extend it to the people, because if you don't practice human rights in your house, it doesn't make sense to go outside. So what His Majesty has come to really clean up everyone in general. The Rastaman, the Bali, the Kwame, the Sole, that's King Emmanuel Charles would say, and bring forth a unity to go home in this time. Without that unity, as King Emmanuel Charles the Constitution said, don't look for repatriation.
I've read the speech in full already and made comments and highlights and summarizations, and I've come to some suggestions as to what we can do as a people, African people in Jamaica, to enable us to reach somewhere with this. Because in my opinion, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, since the visit of the Imperial Majesty, we haven't reached anywhere more than where we left it. As a matter of fact, in some respects, we have even retarded or regressed from where he left it. Because I was only born in 1964, but from what I see, from what I hear from my father, because my father is a person of this cultural orientation, and from what I hear from him, and then I've got into all the Rastafari most, I don't know, most of Rastafari communes in the island since my tribe to this way of life, and I've spoken with the elders there from all over groups and sects, SECTs of Rastafari. And I personally, honestly, I see each sect or group doing their own thing by themselves. That's what I see. So before any Rastafari, Bobo, School of Vision, 12 Tribes, anyone can go out there, or anyone individuals, and with no company, then just Lisa Sutton and Prince Empress Patron and individuals can go out there and declare that we must unify and organize and socialize. I need Rastafari individual different groups need to come together first and to consolidate. Okay, are we going to all just come together, our houses and mansions, and rename ourselves all houses and mansions, and we're going to do this? Or are we going to come together and accept that okay, it is the Ethiopian African National Congress is the head, that the one that was mandated by the king, and we're going to work under that one banner? So I think that this is what is foremost before we can go to anything else, because I personally see each Rastafari group and mansion doing their own thing, living their own liberty. It's not much similarity. It's the one Rastafari culture. It's very general. Just a few, hold on for me please, just a few little variations, but in my respect, Rastafari is the one most way of life that is so uniform across. Just a few little slight eat and hair up the hair and different thing, but that's a one good thing, one solid thing about Aini. It's a uniform liberty, and now in order to accomplish international peace, strengthening bonds between Jamaica and Ethiopia, Rastafari individual groups in the country need to come under one heading and one umbrella, in my opinion, before we can go further to accomplish anything else.